nobody there for Tucson. Ring will take it away with speed up the right wing side. Velarde tripped up, centered for Fagimo to the left circle. A shot, score! In his first game of the year, guess who? Lias Anderson makes it 3-2 with 1:56 to go.
Yeah. So Finland sends over some gifts this week in the form of two players, Samuel Helenius and Kim Nusayainen. Let's start with Kim here. So Kim was drafted in the fourth round in 2019 at 119th overall by the Kings. You're looking at he's signed to an ATO contract, so not officially given an ELC, but able to come over. He's 5'9", $170, at least when he was drafted, 21 years old. Left shot. So we got all these thick right shot guys, but he's a left shot for Kalpa this year in Liga. Had 4 goals and 10 assists, 14 points in 35 games, was a plus, or had 22 PIMs and was a -3 for Kalpa, but wore a letter this year with the big clubs. So that's something that we like to see. Any chance, I mean, this was kind of unexpected for me, at least. Any chance to kind of watch some tape, or are you just going based off of his draft profile and what he's going to bring to this team?
I know I have watched a little bit of his some tape over him over there in Finland. Listen, I think of all of the group of players that the Ontario Reign are getting, I think he's had a shot here to get real minutes and potentially PP2 minutes. Like, look at the left side of the Reign defense right now. It's Cameron Gaunce, Hickey, and then Casestool. I don't think that there's a huge obstacle for him here. Like, Casestool has been a guy that, full marks to him. He's been here since, I believe, early January.
Not the Norwegian.
I know. We've talked about him on this pod. Like, I give that kid full credit. He's even, moved up and played forward in a pinch. So, but you have a Kings prospect. He's got a shot. Like, you look at his tape and you look at what he can do. He's really good in the offensive zone. He's good with his lateral movements, especially on the power play over there in Finland. Like, I think he's got a shot to play some decent minutes and maybe some PP2 time, because I figure Granz is going to run PP1, and you look at like the rest of their D core, none of them are really offensive defensemen like he potentially could be.
Yeah.
That's not Gaunce, and I wouldn't be surprised the fact that they moved Marcus Phillips. They probably knew this was coming, like they were going to get another left shot D here in the not so distant future. So I actually, of all the guys that they've brought over, he's the one I'm most intrigued about. I don't know what to necessarily expect. I'll be very curious, and maybe we'll find out as early as tomorrow morning. But this is a player that I think can see some time on the left side. I don't think there's anybody that's blocking him, and I think they're missing that offensive defenseman that he has the capability to bring.
Yeah, different set of skills going on there. You don't know what Hickey's going to be doing for the Islanders if he gets brought back up. So then that gives you a little bit of extra padding on the left side. And then, you're looking at getting, Casastool's been doing well, but this, not Nusayanen's your toy. Like he's your guy. So getting him those types of minutes. The AHL is a little bit of a jump up from Liga. So we'll see how that's working out. The ice is a little bit different as well. So over in Europe, so maybe they're kind of just seeing what he can do, but he does add offensive ability from the left side.
He does. And again, like we just said, like it would be a lot for them to move up or down. So they're, like I said, they're probably finishing second. This next dozen games is a great opportunity to throw him in and see what he can do, and it really not affect the standings or their playoff position one way or the other. I like him. I think he's going to be an interesting player.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I haven't seen anything of whether they've landed or have been at practice yet, or are going to play tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to see the games that we're recording this live on YouTube on a Tuesday night, and the game's Wednesday at, I think, 10 a.m. Pacific. So we'll see if they are suited up, and they is the other guy with Samuel Helenius. So Samuel Helenius was drafted in this year's draft in the second round, 59th overall. Massive 6'6", 201. I think that's underselling him. He's probably closer to 210, 215. But having a decent year in Liga with three goals, 6 assists, 9 points. Also wearing a letter for JYP at this young of age, 19 years old, wearing a letter in Liga, and then went over to the World Juniors and was lighting it on fire. Him and Casper Simon Tyval on the same line until that tournament came to a halt. But I'm really intrigued where they go here, just adding another center. He doesn't seem like a guy that's going to translate to wing. They really like him down the middle. So where does that kind of push everybody else in your mind?
But if they play him at center,
does that make Akil go to wing, you think?
Either that or Pavlichev out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Those are the two options for me. And I kind of lean Pavlichev out of lineup, or maybe they move Pavlichev. He may have played wing, actually, Pavlichev, early in the season on an off game. I could be off on that, but
that might be the tallest line in the history of the AHL if you keep both of them on the same line.
and the other guy they brought over, Andre Lee, who's now coming to play. He's a big boy too. Hellenius.
The over 6'6" line.
Yeah, Hellenius, Pavlichev, and Lee. What a line that would be. They should put that together just for our sake.
The skyscraper line? Yeah.
Humor us. But Hellenius, I should say. So the Reign have one of the worst penalty kills in the AHL. And this is not to say that this young kid coming from Finland is going to save the penalty kill, but he's a player that can effectively play the penalty kill. He's a good defensive center. He's a 200-foot player. And there's two things. Like I look at the write-up that Scott Wheeler did in his most recent, in the pipeline rankings. Hellenius wasn't ranked very high for the Kings. He was all the way down to 18th. And I think the reason is guys this size, you just don't see them make it that often. Let's be honest, right? The Brian Boyles, if you will, they don't make it very often. That said, for the Reign, he could be really effective as a two-way forward and as a penalty killer. And he mentioned in his write-up that he's a guy that the coaches love him. He's a heck of a teammate, and they feel that they can trust him into winning battles and playing defensively. And the other part of this where I was going was watching him in the World Juniors. He was really good as a defensive forward, particularly on the penalty kill. So I'd be interested to see if the Reign bring him in and try to integrate him relatively quickly on the penalty kill, because it's been a sore spot for the team, and maybe give the likes of a Fagemo, who's played some PK time, Jared Anderson-Dolan, who's played some PK, maybe give them scale back a little bit on their PK minutes, give it to a guy like Hellenius, and have them a little bit more well-rested for, 5-on-5 play. So I think Hellenius is an interesting forward that he brings in. That there's a crop of forwards here in Ontario right now, but a lot of them are relatively new, right? Because you look at who's in the NHL right now: Kapari, Byfield, Velarde, all guys that could be back down for playoffs, by the way. So how it shakes out come playoff time versus right now, we'll see. But he's going to get an opportunity to perhaps, have a positive influence on the penalty kill.
Well, if all those guys keep playing the way they do, they might be up in the Kings for the playoffs.
Well, and let's hope the Kings have a deep run in the playoffs to keep them there. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So I really like this kid's game. Like I said, in the World Juniors, he was tearing it up, showing offensive ability as well as defensive ability. He brings something different with his size and his defensive acumen. The Reign are known for all their forwards being more offensive minded. Kill Thomas is 200 foot. Anderson-Dolan has some defensive skill. Samuel Fagemo has been progressing in that area, and Turcotte is known more for the defense. But they are all drafted high and have that offensive expectation, where Hellenius can just, like you said, play the PK, come in there, grind, use his side, lean on people, especially in the AHL, where the league is a little bit bigger than the NCAA. It's a little bit bigger than the OHL and everything like that. So having that big body in there, and maybe they get the Bash brothers together with him and Baby Giraffe and go at some people. But I like it. So
I'm trying to figure out. There's 5 forwards now. So I should be clear. I don't know the extent of Tyler Madden his injury
Mhm.
or Turcotte's injury. They've been out for a bit now. So I don't know what when they're projected to come back. But you look at there's those two. Ferk has missed the last game. Now you've got Hellenius and Lee. That's 5 forwards. Like, not to mention the 3 in Ontario, or excuse me, Los Angeles. There's potentially 8 forwards that could come in to the lineup at some point.
Yeah.
That's fascinating to me. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know you've got. I mean, Jacob Doty's been in and out. Pavlichev's been in and out.
And Ward is starting to look good too.
Ward's been really good. I mean, he's playing alongside Tyne and Fagemo. I think he's looked really good. So I don't like Kachet. I don't know where they go with this lineup. Now again, I don't know also if like some of these moves are hints that maybe Madden and Turcotte are going to be out for a bit. I it's total speculation on my part. I don't really know, but
you know what I could see this. I could see this being. It's like I don't know if you've seen Endgame, but it's like they're fighting Thanos, and then all of a sudden you see like these rings opening up, and like all like thousands of warriors come in. Like if the Kings get knocked out in the first round, and you get like 8 guys just dumped into the rain for another playoff run, like you're looking at like Avengers mount up here. Like you just have all these guys coming in. And the Reign just have to hold on a little bit until these guys can get there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But again, I don't know. Like, I feel like they know this. They know the situation, they being the organization. So maybe it's too speculative, but reading between the lines, I wonder if Madden and Turcotte are a little bit more dinged up than maybe we want to believe. I don't know.
Yeah, or they just like, hey, like we can do this and just give ourselves as much padding as possible because this Reign team is special and they can make a deep run. So why not just pad for every single opportunity here, and go from there? If I mean the worst thing that happens, Hellenius comes over, Nusayainen comes over, they play 4 or 5 games before the playoff time. All these guys come back down and they don't actually play. No big deal. It wouldn't be a big deal for me. Like then they compete in camp, but if that doesn't happen, say the Kings make a run, that Champagne line stays intact even after the injuries returns from the Kings standpoint because they've been playing very well. Then it gives you more players to pump in for the Reign to where both can have successful runs, which is what Kings fans would want.
Yes, right. I mean, exactly. I mean, hopefully LA has a good run and hopefully, like, listen, this isn't like the way the Reign are right now. This lineup is not the same Reign team, obviously, as it was a month or 2 ago. This is not the same dominant Reign team that we saw earlier in the season. This is a team that is vulnerable, if we're being honest. Like, they're missing a ton of guys that were huge contributors. And we've talked about their depth, and they have it. But when you're missing the talent that they're missing, be it call-up or injury, a first-round series win is not exactly like a lock anymore. I mean, I hate to say that, but this is a different roster right now.